Hello and welcome to From the Helm series. My name is Grady Wolf, Market Analyst of Bellteract, and this series is in partnership with Resources Rising Stars. Now, throughout 2023, the green energy transition has remained resilient as a trend throughout market volatility, and nickel, the commodity, plays a key part in the green energy transition. Joining me today to discuss the advanced Jaguar nickel sulfide project is Centaurus Metals Managing Director, Darren Gordon. Darren, thank you for your time today. Now, your flagship asset is the Jaguar nickel sulfide project located in the world-class mining province of Brazil. What's the latest update from development there, and do you have a timeline on production?
Yeah, look, I guess 2023 has been a very busy year for us. We're in the middle of a feasibility study on our Jaguar project. It's probably taking a little bit longer than what we want in dealing with the rest of the market, but at the same time, we've made a lot of progress. Our team's extremely busy trying to pull that feasibility study together. I guess concurrently with that, there's been a whole raft of other activities going on from an approvals perspective. There's been exploration going on. So, we're still very proud of the asset. We now need to bring it to fruition. Still looking for production in sort of 2027, which will have a 2-year build and completion of the feasibility study. But all in all, we're sort of still on track.
Now, for investors who may not know Centaurus Metals, can you tell us a little bit about the company and why an investment decision could be in the pipeline for any of our investors?
Yeah, look, I think for investors, it's important to understand that we've been in Brazil for 15 years. We understand the lie of the land there, and we picked up this project from Vale about 4 years ago, and we've done an enormous amount of work drilling it out, proving up the resources, putting ourselves in a position where we can actually deliver this feasibility study, demonstrate the economics, and then hopefully bring it to fruition. So I guess when you look at what Centaurus is, it's really a Brazil-focused company looking at strategic minerals and trying to sort of leverage that the best way we can in country.
Now, cost inflation has been a headwind and challenge for not just mining companies, but across the board in the ASX in 2023. How have you managed the cost inflations and this headwind?
Yeah, no, it's always a challenge. I guess the proof's going to be when we deliver the feasibility study and understanding where the capital and operating cost numbers actually land. We're still targeting the completion of that work by the end of Q1 next year. From a, I guess, day-to-day perspective, drilling, etc., we offset a little bit by the currency factor in Brazil, which is nice. So we don't see that sort of cost escalation dramatically hitting us, as it might have with other companies operating in Australia. But we are still mindful of what that might look like when we deliver the feasibility study.
Now, you do operate internationally, so off Australian shores, and governments increasingly around the world are beginning to nationalise certain projects in certain areas. Is this a fear of yours or a challenge you're going to have to accept one day? Or
No, I think Brazil's quite unique in that regard. It's obviously a top 10 GDP country globally. We have a very clear tenement system there. Exploration licenses converting to mining leases, government takes a royalty, so there's no foreign ownership of projects. We don't feel like there's going to be any sort of impeding on the development of what we want to do. So I think international investors have a pretty good feel for Brazil right now, and I think that's probably demonstrated by, I think we're up to about 20 or 25 ASX listed companies that have actually gone into Brazil in the last couple of years and chasing multiple different commodities, but it does sort of hit home as the strength of Brazil as a destination of choice from an investment perspective.
Now, nickel sulfide is obviously a key element in the production of EV batteries, and a lot of investors just think lithium-ion batteries are just lithium. They're not. There's certainly a lot of nickel in there. How does this play into strategic outlook, and how important is nickel in the EV movement?
Oh, look, I still think it's essential. I think in the Asian market, you're seeing a push to LFP batteries, but I think when you look at the US and you look at the European Union, nickel's still a very large part of the chemistry going into batteries. So I don't think you can have a lithium-ion battery market and a whole EV rollout without having a good supply of nickel. Jaguar is well placed for that. We're going to have a long life project, sulfide asset. Going to have low cost power leading to low emissions, which then encourages those Western Hemisphere markets to sort of get more engaged. So yeah, look, I think overall it's a trend that we need to be mindful of, but it's something that we embrace.
Now, naturally, the nickel spot price has come back in 2023. What impact has this had on Centaurus Metals?
I think like a lot of companies in Australia, those commodity prices are impacting share price. It doesn't overly impact what we're doing at the moment. As far as putting the feasibility study together, we'll look at pricing from a long-term basis, but sentiment towards the sector has really diminished over the last sort of 6 to 9 months, meaning that market caps and share prices are down. But I think therein lies the opportunity for investors. If you can look at the asset, understand the quality of it, understand that the sector is still moving forward and that the strategic partners are still looking for a long-term supply of nickel, then what better opportunity to actually get involved with a project like Centaurus?
Yeah, like nickel isn't going anywhere. So that's the thing that investors need to understand. All commodities are cyclical, but nickel is always going to be needed. Now, being on time and on budget is really important for a lot of investors investing in the mining space. Can you update us on the budget of the Jaguar project?
Yeah, a little bit difficult right now, only from the perspective that we're doing the feasibility study, and that will give us the answer in relation to capital and operating costs. But that's end of Q1, and so investors are not going to have to wait too far to get the answers for what that budget looks like, what the implementation schedule looks like, when we can actually bring the project on stream. So I guess maybe I come back in sort of 3 months' time and we'll have a discussion again, we'll understand the budget a bit better.
We'll relive this in 3 months' time.
Exactly.
We'll have a budget update for all of our investors. Now, 2024 is right on our horizon. What does it look like for Centaurus Metals?
Look, again, busy year. We're going to get the approvals through for the project, and that's, I think, a fairly significant de-risking step for the company. The feasibility study is obviously key, getting that out there. There's expectations from the market that we deliver that, and that's a super important step. I think then it's really going to be about the development, the partnering. So we've got this strategic partnering process going on right now, working in conjunction with Standard Chartered on that. And there's been a lot of interest, and I think there is a disconnect between where the equity markets are today and where the strategics are thinking about supply of nickel in sort of 2027, 2028 when this project's due to come on stream. So I think there'll be a fair bit going on the funding side of the project sort of in the first half of next year, and then it's all about the development and trying to advance that.
Darren Gordon from Centaurus Metals, Managing Director, thank you so much for your time today.
Great.
That is From the Helm, and nickel is still a word heading into 2024. My name is Grady Wolf, Market Analyst with Bell Direct, and thank you for joining us for this episode. If you did enjoy this episode, why not subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep up to date with all interviews, market commentary and analysis.